Welcome back to another edition of The Odd Couple. And Brick, we've never really talked about your origin very much. You know, we see you as a police chief, we see you as a pastor, we see you as a guy that kind of has a lot of things together. It hasn't always been the case. And your upbringing wasn't ideal.
Sure.
You are a product of the hood.
Yes.
You were brought up in the hood.
That's right.
You saw crime from a little different perspective than you see it from today.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about Brick as a youngster.
Well, where do we start? Some of the things, because in past shows we've talked about entitlement. Again, people see me now, and they see not only me, but when you see an individual that's in a certain position, people tend to think that, oh man, they got it going on and they have life just been easy for them. The reality of it is that, man, if I wanted to have excuses, I could have some. And but God is blessed. In my upbringing early on, I'm the product of my mom had me when she was 16 years old. So a product of a teen mom. Dad was 17. Mom was 16, and early on we stayed with various family members, and then when we were on our own, we were in the project area housing development in Nashville. That was tough. It's a place called Settle Court in Nashville, and it was notoriously rough. Law enforcement didn't want to come in, didn't respond unless they absolutely had to.
They were afraid to come in.
Right. It was that type of environment, but through it all, that was just a challenge in itself. And then my mom was, for the most part of those times, was a single mother, raising myself and then my brother that was 3.5 years younger than I, and you know she was doing the best she could.
Right.
Working minimal jobs and things like that. But it was tough. I remember times of wondering what we were going to eat. You know, thank God that there were people that he made a way. He provided, man. He provided. But from that point, because I know we don't have a lot of time just to go into every detail, but we're products of, I said before, our government assistance. I remember having during Christmas times, man, being a benefactor of Metro Nashville's police department. Their shop with a cop, so to speak, and we would go down to the War Memorial Building and receive gifts that were passed out by the police department then. And so, you know, at a young age, but then life turned, man. At 11.5 years old, my mother was gone, and she was gone to what I was told was suicide. So, you know, so we were moved about in different family members and shuffled about. I remember my mom saying this though often: if anything ever happens to me, you stay together. You know, and at the time of her death, I was 11.5, my brother was 8, and my sister was 7 months old. So, you know, we were challenged. It was challenging. It wasn't peaches and cream, so to speak, devastating. And that was the most devastating episode of my life. That people try to say, well, over time you'll get over it, but
you don't get over it.
You don't get over that, and I don't. Even in a counseling perspective now, I said, don't make your aim to get over it, because you won't. The grace of God helps you get through it. And if anybody is going
such
through
a huge
there,
principle.
if anybody's going through today, looking at this podcast, listening, the grace of God will help you through these type of situations, but you won't get over it.
Yeah.
Many years later, I'm still not over it. And this is the thing, Pastor Bob. I don't know if I want to be over it.
No, we don't want to forget those
Yeah.
things.
So,
Yeah. Because
but
those are
those
the things that have molded you and shaped you to be the
correct,
person that you are today,
right,
haven't they?
correct.
Yeah.
And so, if I wanted to pull out different excuses of, an opportunity to go the wrong way, because that path did come, and man, you're looking at it. People see me now, and they can't fathom that I ever was my life was ever different. That I was always upstanding and this, and man, hey, I was a great pretender, man. Brought up in the church, but didn't really have a relationship,
Mm.
genuinely a relationship. I did the church things, but
Yeah.
and you would speak to some of the older people back then in my life, and they would say, "Oh, this is a good boy. He's good." But that's the side that I allowed them to see.
Yeah.
And as time went on in my life, man, the the smoking, the alcohol, um, became a part of my life and really consumed me. I started consuming alcohol, but really alcohol consumed me. And so
Wow.
it's something I did from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. All during the day, I drank, man. And I was what they term now a functioning alcoholic. I
Yeah.
went to work and every day, but I drank all the time. I had a fifth of something in my car at all times. And that's how I operated. And this mouth that you hear now, man, was vulgar. Every other word out of my mouth was profane, man. And I remember my wife telling me, said, "Can't you say anything without cursing?" And I would answer by cursing, So, but thanks be to God, man, for a change. And
Well, how do you transition then from that spot to where you are today? Because there had to be a place
sure.
where you said, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to go take a different
Well, people
path.
were family members. I went in the Navy, and when I came back home, people were telling me, "James, you need to get back in church. You need to get back in church." And my response was that, "Hey, if church is what we've been doing, I don't want any part of it. That has to be something better than what we've been doing."
Yeah.
We kind of went under that old adage of "fake it till you make it," so to speak, because
Right.
we were doing again the churchy things. But I remember coming back home and going back to my church that I was a part of, and sitting there, and man, after a few minutes of the same thing, I just got up and left. I'm like, man, this is it.
And you
Is
probably
nothing.
couldn't visualize yourself being a pastor at that point.
Oh, no. Even though, and this is the thing, and some people find it hard to grasp, even though at that time I knew there was a call on my life, but I
Wow.
was running from it. Yeah,
Huh.
even at that time. But, you know, man, I heard God's voice saying that you're going to be out of here, meaning dead. You're going to be
Yeah.
in jail. The way you're heading is down.
And you
And if you
were.
don't change, and I was.
Yeah.
And impacting people's lives, People looked at Brick as being cool and somebody, that's got it together in all the wrong ways. But,
Right.
man, so in April of 85, man, I said I don't want to go to anybody's church, not looking to go to anybody's church. What I do want is a genuine relationship with the Lord and an understanding of His Word.
So how did that happen?
And that happened for some people. It takes different steps and things like that. For me, it was that one step.
Really?
When I submitted my life to Christ right then, for real, that day, the smoking, the drinking, the swearing, everything was gone right then. To the fact that I can tell you not only April of 1985, but April 29th, 1985.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was the pivotal
That was
day for you.
pivotal day.
So from then on, you were on your road spiritually? Everything was fine, no problems anymore. You didn't have any relapses.
No, it's from that period of time because I had been through AA.
Mm,
I'd been through AA, and not saying that AA didn't work. It does work. It didn't work for me.
yeah,
And so it wasn't the 12 step, it wasn't the 6 step, it was the 1 step for James, for Brick. It was the 1
yeah,
step of really surrendering to God. And from that time, man, I understood that there were people that I was going to have to disconnect from
yes,
because in our flesh, we're not strong enough to handle those things. I couldn't go around people at that time that were drinking. I couldn't go around people that had that same mindset and was
no,
doing the same thing at that time. Now I can go around anybody, and it doesn't impact. Yeah, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't impact me. But at that time, when you're newly released, you have to have the wisdom, and that's what God gave me. That you're going to have family members that you can't be around,
yeah,
friends that you can't be around, and then some of them, and you're going to position yourself. Some of the people will have the mindset that, oh, he thinks he's too good for us now. He
yeah,
thinks he's better than us now. And it's not that. You just understand your limitations
right.
of knowing. And then when God did that work in my life and I was strong enough spiritually, I could go around anybody. And they're
You
drinking.
just have to keep your eyes on the prize, don't
I'm the
you?
prize, man.
You know, there's something that James said that I think is real important to close with, and that is that he said when he surrendered
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. You know, there's a lot of Christians today that are trying to discipline themselves to be quote unquote good Christians,
Come
and
on.
that discipline leads to a dead end.
Yeah.
Jesus knew that you and I could never discipline ourselves to be
That's it.
good enough.
Come on.
And he died on the cross. And he said, I don't require your discipline anymore because that doesn't take it. Not that we shouldn't try to be disciplined, but he said, what I need is your surrender because I've paid the price.
That's it.
And you may be struggling with discipline today and you didn't realize that, like James, you needed to surrender to Jesus Christ. He paid it all for you.
Yes, he did.
It's good news,
Yes,
isn't
he did. Yes, he
and
did.
that's the story of your success.
That's it. And we'll talk more about how this law enforcement thing came about. But I just want to encourage our viewers and listeners, man, that, hey,
Absolutely.
it only takes a step of a surrendered heart. And I encourage you to change and trade in religion for a relationship. And,
great.
man, get that relationship with Christ, man. He paid it all, as Pastor Bob said. And
he said,
hey, I
it's
love
finished.
it. It's finished.
I did
It's
it.
done. And it's complete.
And
I
it's
think in
complete.
religion, we feel some kind of way that we have to add to it.
Yeah,
But there's nothing to add to it. It's complete, man.
it's the good news.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
we got some great episodes coming up. Don't miss any of them in the future. And once again, Brick and I will be back, the odd couple, the good-looking guys.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back with you next time. God bless you.
Peace.